Today, I am going to talk about what has been described as the ultimate mountaineering experience in the whole of the UK, the Black Cuillins. So, watch and listen. The Black Cuillins is the nickname that has been given to the Cuillin mountain range in the Isle of Skye, in the northwest of Scotland. I climbed in the Cuillin mountain range recently. It was an unforgettable experience. It was amazing. It was so cool and it was tough. And I am going to explain why. So, the Cuillin mountain range has been given the nickname the Black Cuillins because of the colour of the rock. The rock on the Cuillins is gabbro rock, and this is very hard and rough, and it is black. So the mountain range looks black. So black that the Cuillin Mountains were actually scouted by the team who were looking for locations for the Lord of the Rings. And they thought that the look of the Cuillins was appropriate for Mordor. So the gabbro rock that makes up most of the Cuillins is very hard and it is very rough. The rock actually tore up our boots, and when we were climbing in the mountains, it cut up our hands as well. It wasn't very pleasant. Also, in the Cuillins, there is smooth basalt rock, and when this type of rock gets wet, it is slippery. And when we were climbing the Cuillins, it was raining. So a lot of the time we were slipping on the rocks, and when we had to climb, it was pretty slippy and also quite scary. The Cuillins were actually formed 60 million years ago from eroded magma chambers in volcanoes, and then a mixture of glaciers and weathering formed the very rugged and jagged peaks that make up the Cuillin mountain range. It does look spectacular. It has very sheer, steep cliffs, and you have to walk along them. And it is very possible to fall off. So it is important that if you go to the Cuillins to climb, you have to have the proper equipment. And I am going to talk about that in a little bit. A Munro is the name given to a mountain in Scotland which is over 3,000 feet tall, or 914.4 metres. And in total there are 12 in the Cuillin mountain range. Here is a list because I can't remember or pronounce most of these. If you visit the Cuillins, you can try to climb all of the Munros, which is what we did, or you can do the Traverse. Now, there is a ridge that runs across the Cuillins, and the Cuillin Traverse is when you walk all the way around this ridge. Not only walk, you need to climb as well. You need to rock climb, so it is very difficult. There is about 13,000 feet or 4,000 metres of ascents and descents on this ridge. And for experienced climbers, it can take all of 9 to 15 hours to do it. A lot of the time, the climbers actually sleep on the mountain using a bivouac, which is like a sleeping bag and a tent thing. So the entire traverse can take up to 30 hours to complete. Now, the traverse is difficult, but so is climbing all of the Munros, especially because of one of the Munros, Sgurr Derg. To reach the summit of Sgurr Derg, you need to climb the inaccessible pinnacle, or the Inn-Pin. The top of the Inn-Pin is accessible, but you need to rock climb, and it is the only Munro that you actually need to rock climb to reach the summit. So this is a goal for a lot of climbers, and we were lucky enough to do it. We climbed to the top of the Inn-Pin, and it was terrifying. Wow, I will never forget it. Now, there are two ways to get to the top of the Inn-Pin. You can go the long, not so steep way, or the short, very steep way. We went the short, very steep way because on this side there was a big long queue of people climbing and not climbing. So our guide said, okay, we'll go this way. And when I heard this, I thought, are you crazy? I want to go this way. Now this way is still dangerous because it is sheer. It is a cliff. So if you're climbing up and you slip, you will fall all the way down and splat. You'll be dead. This way is classed as a moderate climb, whereas this way is classed as a severe climb, and it was severe. Now this is how we climbed the in-pin. There is a big boulder on the top of the in-pin. At the base of the boulder there is a chain, and you can attach a rope to the end of the chain. So our guide climbed up the steep side of the in-pin, attached a rope to the boulder, threw the rope down, and then said, attach that to your harness. So that's what I did. And then he said, okay, now climb. And I was thinking, oh no, it looks so scary. But I did it. So I started to climb the in-pin. Climbing the in-pin was very difficult. It was raining, so it was wet, and this didn't make it easy. So I started to climb this rock face, and I didn't really know which way to go. It looked impossible to the right, but it seemed okay to the left. And my brother was shouting to me, go left. So I went left, but you're meant to just go right and straight up. And I got lost around the left side. So most of the time I was on the in-pin, I was on the left side, and I was lost. I didn't know which way to go. I couldn't find anything good to hold on to. And I just sat there, holding onto the rock, just wishing for this to end. And then I reached around to the right and I found the crack. Now there is a crack that runs up the right side of the cliff face. And if you find this crack, it makes it a lot easier to climb up. So once I found this, I climbed up as fast as I could and got over the top. And then the rest of my group climbed up and we got this selfie at the top. Now that was an example of some severe climbing that you have to do in the Cuillins, but most of the time you are either walking or scrambling. Scrambling is like a mix of walking and climbing. Sometimes you use ropes, sometimes you don't. It really depends on the terrain. Here is a video of my brother scrambling down a boulder, and as you can see, he slipped.
Get on video, scrapping away.
It can be quite dangerous, so you always have to be careful, which is why we got a guide, so he could show us the best ways to go, and also show us the best way to climb. Now I am going to talk a little bit about equipment. There are a few things you need to bring. You need good boots with good grip, because if you don't have grip, you will slip. You also need good ankle support, because if you go over your ankle and injure yourself, you are in big trouble. You also need a harness, a helmet, and very short shorts. Only joking. The helmet is very important because if you are climbing with other people, they can knock and loosen small rocks. And if a small rock falls and hits you on your head, this could knock you off the mountain. And the harness is to attach a rope. And if you are climbing with a group of people, you all need to wear harnesses, and then you attach the rope between all the harnesses so everyone is attached to each other. This means that if one person falls off the ridge, the other people will act as a counterbalance, which will stop this person falling. And this is how you stay safe. You also need to bring plenty of food and drink. The food that I like to bring is bananas and chocolate and nuts. Things that can give you a lot of energy. Now, the Cuillins are an amazing place. It is unlike anything I have ever seen, and people have compared the Cuillin Mountains to the Alps. They are really impressive. That is all about the Black Cuillins for now and my experience climbing them. Thank you for watching and listening. Press dislike and don't subscribe. My mistake. Press like and subscribe if you want. Bye.